Sociologist Zygmunt Bauman. Zygmunt Bauman was a Polish-British sociologist, philosopher and essayist of Jewish origin. His work, which began in the 1950s, deals with, among other things, issues such as social class, socialism, the Holocaust, hermeneutics, modernity and postmodernity, consumerism, globalization and the new poverty. He developed the concept of liquid modernity, and coined their corresponding term. 3 Together with fellow sociologist Alain Touraine, Bauman received the 2010 Prince of Asturias Award for Communication and Humanities. Work and thought. Zygmunt Bauman's research interest focused on social stratification and the labor movement, before turning to more global issues such as the nature of modernity. The most prolific period of his career began after he left teaching, at Leeds, when he increased his importance beyond professional sociological circles with a book he published about the alleged connection between the ideology of the modernity and the Holocaust. Bauman's work comprises 57 books and more than 100 essays. These are the most recent but not least, 2015, with Ina Bauman, Jerzy Kosiatkiewicz and Monica Kostera, Management in a Liquid Modern World, Cambridge, Polity. 2015, with Stanislaw Obierek, On the World and Ourselves. Cambridge, Polity. 2016, with Leonidas Donskis, Liquid Evil. Cambridge, Polity. 2016, with Eza Amoro, Babel. Cambridge, Polity. 2016, Strangers at Our Door. Cambridge, Polity. 2017, Retrotopia. Cambridge, Polity. Retrotopia. Barcelona, Paidós. 2017. 2017, with Thomas Leoncini, Nati Liquidi. Sperling and Kupfler. 2017, Zygmunt Bauman. Das Vertraut und Vertrautmachen. Ein Gespräch MIT Peter Hafner, Hoffmann und Kamp, Hamburg 2017, ISBN 978-3455-001532 2017, A Chronicle of Crisis, 2011-2016. Social Europe editions. 2017 b. Zkais Zedterii Kultury, Essays in Cultural Theory. Warsaw, Państwowe Wydawnictwo Naukowe. 2018, Liquid Generation. Transformations in the 3.0 Era. Barcelona, Paidós Umberto Eco Literature. Umberto Eco Biography. Italian writer and semiologist, Umberto Eco was known as much for his essayistic and philosophical work as for his historical novels, several of which, like The Name of the Rose, have reached the top of the sales charts in all the world. Professor of Semiology at the University of Bologna, Eco studied in Turin and published several essays and articles that gave him academic prestige, the most famous of them being Apocalyptic and Integrated. As a narrator, he rose to fame thanks to The Name of the Rose, a work that was adapted to the cinema in 1986, and which became a true bestseller. Eco alternated his essay production with narrative, with titles such as The Limits of Interpretation, Foucault's Pendulum, 5 Moral Writings, The Island of the Day Before or Bordellino. Following his 2004 autobiographical novel, The Mysterious Flame of Queen Lona, he returned to a more fictionalized narrative with The Prague Cemetery, 2010. He received numerous awards and honors throughout his academic and literary career, including awards such as the Prince of Asturias for Communication and Humanities or the Knightly Order of the French Legion of Honor. Umberto Eco, Books. Plant Memory 2021, How to Travel with a Sermon 2020, Migration and Intolerance 2019, Against Fascism 2018, From Stupidity to Madness 2016, Number 0 2050. He was born into a humble family of non-practicing Jewish Poles. When Poland was invaded by Nazi Germany in 1939, his family fled to the east. In his flight from Nazism he moved to the Soviet Union, where he enlisted in the Soviet-controlled First Polish Army, working as an instructor in political education. He participated in the battles of Kolberg and Berlin. In May 1945 he received the Military Cross of Valor. According to the Polish National Memory Institute, from 1945 to 1953 he was a political officer of the Internal Security Corps, Korpus Bezpieczeństwa Unitnego, in Polish, KBW, a military unit formed to combat the nationalist insurgency of Ukraine and part of the remnants Armia Krajowa. 5 He later worked for military intelligence from 1945 to 1948. However, the nature and extent of his collaboration remained hidden, as did the exact circumstances under which they ended. 5 He later returned to Poland, where he was a member of the Communist Party and was a professor of philosophy and sociology at the University of Warsaw before being forced to leave Poland in 1968 because of the anti-Semitic policy developed by the communist government after the events of March 1968.6. After his purge from the University of Warsaw, he taught sociology in countries such as Israel, the United States and Canada. From 1971 he resided in England, where he was a professor at the University of Leeds, and, since 1990, Professor Emeritus. In an interview with the English daily The Guardian, he confirmed that he had been a committed communist during and after World War II, and that he had not kept it a secret. He admitted that it was a mistake to join the military intelligence service at the age of 19, the age at which he also joined the Polish Unified Workers' Party, where he had a boring job writing political pamphlets for soldiers for 3 years, without recalling having tracked someone down. 6 While serving at KBW, he studied sociology at the Warsaw Academy of Social and Political Sciences. Within the KBW he held the rank of major, but he was suddenly dishonorably discharged in 1953, after his father went to the Israeli embassy in Warsaw to see if he could emigrate to Israel. As Bormann did not share the Zionist tendencies of his father and was in effect strongly anti-Zionist, his dismissal caused a severe but temporary estrangement with his father. During their period of unemployment that followed, he completed his master's degree and in 1954 began teaching classes at the University of Warsaw, where he remained until 1968. Citation needed. Faced with increasing political pressure connected with a political purge led by Mieczysław Łomocza, head of the Służba Bezpieczeństwa, he resigned his membership in the Polish Unified Workers' Party in January 1968. In March of that year, the purge that he expelled outside began. From the country to many Polish communists of Jewish descent, including those intellectuals who had fallen out of favor with the communist government. Citation needed. Bormann, who had lost his post at the University of Warsaw, was one of them. He had to renounce his Polish citizenship to be allowed to leave the country. He first left for Israel, where he taught at Tel Aviv University, later accepting a sociology chair at Leeds University, where he was head of department. From that point on, he published his works almost exclusively in English, his third language, and his reputation grew exponentially. Since the late 1990s, Bormann exercised considerable influence in the anti-globalization movement. Citation needed. In 2011, in an interview with the leading Polish weekly Polityka, he criticized Zionism and Israel, stating about Israeli operations in Palestine and Palestinian terrorism that the oppression and humiliation of the Palestine nation was, is and will always be a recipe for terrorism, not for its eradication. Furthermore, these two phenomena are interconnected, as Israeli politicians tremble at peace, because without war and total mobilization they cannot rule. They do not smile at all at the end of Palestinian terrorism. I would say that there is feedback between Israeli and Palestinian extremists. They need each other to survive, they cannot live without each other. 7 The Israeli ambassador in Warsaw, Zvibar, wrote that Bormann's comments were half-truths and baseless generalizations. 8 Bormann was married to the writer Janina Bormann, Lewinson when he was nay, with whom he had 3 daughters, the painter Lydia Bormann, the architect Ina Bormann, and the educator Anna Sfard. Bormann died on January 9, 2017 at the age of 91. Work and Thought, edit. Zygmunt Bormann's research interest focused on social stratification and the labor movement, before turning to more global issues such as the nature of modernity. The most prolific period of his career began after he left teaching at Leeds, when he grew in prominence beyond professional sociological circles with a book he published on the alleged connection between the ideology of modernity and the Holocaust. 9. Bormann's work comprises 57 books and more than 100 essays. Much influenced by Gramsci, he never came to deny Marxist postulates. His works from the 1980s and early 1990s analyze the relationships between modernity, bureaucracy, prevailing rationality, and social exclusion. Following Sigmund Freud, he conceives of European modernity as the product of a transaction between the transfer of freedoms and the comfort to enjoy a level of benefits and security. 10. The Holocaust, edit. His most famous book, Modernity and the Holocaust, is an attempt to fully explain the dangers of two types of fear. Drawing on Hannah Arendt and Theodor Adorno's books on totalitarianism and the Enlightenment, he developed the argument that the Holocaust should not simply be viewed as an event in Jewish history or as a regression to pre-modern barbarism. Rather, he reasoned, the Holocaust must be seen to be deeply connected to modernity and its ordering efforts. Procedural rationality, the division of labor into smaller and smaller tasks, the taxonomic categorization of different species, and the tendency to view obedience to rules as morally good all played a role in making the Holocaust take place. Bormann pointed out that modern societies for this reason have not fully grasped the lessons of their Holocaust. This tends to be seen, to use Bormann's metaphor, as a painting hanging on a wall, which has little to teach. In Bormann's analysis, Jews became strangers par excellence in Europe. The final solution was painted by him as an extreme example of the attempt, made by society, to remove the uncomfortable and indeterminate elements that exist in it. Like the philosopher Giorgio Agamben, Bormann argued that the same processes of exclusion that operated in the Holocaust could return today, and to some extent already have. Solid and Liquid Modernity, edit. Bormann's early works were projects based on modernity within the design of a better society. Around the 1970s and early 1980s, his attention shifted to more general and theoretical questions regarding the role of the social sciences and how they could help society. The greatest change in Bormann's work occurred in the late 1980s, with the publication of a trilogy of books, Legislators and Interpreters, Modernity and the Holocaust, and Modernity and Ambivalence, in which he criticized modernity and proposed a vision postmodern dystopian society. Since then, Bormann edited an invariable line of additional books, where he had been exploring his new perspective. Zygmunt Bormann coined the term of liquid modernity to the current times, based on the concepts of fluidity, change, flexibility, adaptation, among others. Bormann affirms that the liquid is a ruling metaphor of the modern age, since it undergoes continuous and irrecoverable changes. Likewise, the liquid is not fixed in space or tied to time, it moves easily, it cannot be stopped easily, and all these are at the same time fundamental characteristics of the current daily routines. In the past, we were in a predictable and controllable world, a solid one. The routine, the short-term vision, the customs, the communities were some of its characteristics. All this panorama began to melt, changing that society that was stagnant and was too resistant to changes, for a liquid and malleable one. Bormann exposes 5 items in which he develops the concept of liquid modernity: emancipation, individuality, space-time, work and community. 11 According to Bormann, with the arrival of modernity, everything became individualized. Being modern meant being eternally one step ahead of yourself, that is to say, we had to transform ourselves into what each one is. As Jean-Paul Sartre said, it is not enough to be born a bourgeois, you have to live life as a bourgeois. Citation needed, modernity changed the rules. The critical theory that defended individualism before the state that at that time oppressed everything. Now the opposite happens. Today we seek to recover the public, since the individual has encompassed all strata. We live in a society of individuals because everything has become individualized. Such a large system has been formed that now each individual is guilty of his fate, of what happens to him or not. Although Bormann is considered a postmodern thinker, the term postmodern does not fit him, since he uses the concepts solid modernity and liquid modernity to characterize what he considers two sides of their same coin. Bormann caused some controversy within sociology with his assertion that human behavior cannot be explained primarily by social determination or rational discussion, but rather rests on some innate, pre-social drive in individuals. Since the late 1990s, Bormann exercised considerable influence over the Alter World movement. Wasted Lives, Modernity and Its Outcasts, edit. In his book Wasted Lives, Modernity and Its Outcasts, Bormann addresses the consequence of modernity that throws waste as a result, in this case human waste product of migration and globalization. The flow of populations cannot be reabsorbed and is beginning to be a serious problem for different parts of the world, mainly in first world countries, such as the United States and the European Union. The problem of migration has become one of the main issues on the agenda within the hegemony of the planet. Bormann asserts that the production of human waste is an inevitable consequence of modernity. 12. He was born into a humble family of non-practicing Jewish Poles. When Poland was invaded by Nazi Germany in 1939, his family fled to the east. In his flight from Nazism he moved to the Soviet Union, where he enlisted in the Soviet-controlled First Polish Army, working as an instructor in political education.